if you're a Muslim living in a Western country, you need to save yourself from an average life. Let's understand first what an average life looks like in a Western country, because I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you're probably a Western Muslim in a Western country. Now you need to understand an average Western life is a life where you wake up at around 7 to 8 a.m., you get ready, you go to work, and you need to be at work at around 9 a.m. And we all know the 9 to 5 cycle, where you go to a job that you don't like, you work for a person that you don't like, and not only do you not like doing this certain activity, but you get to the end of the day where you're mentally tired, in some cases even physically tired if you're doing a physical job, and you've got no energy to go to the gym, and you've got no energy to cook. And what happens is you eat junk food and you don't work out. And so generally speaking, you go to bed knowing that you have to repeat all of this again the next day. And so you just live an unhappy, unhealthy life for most of the time that you're alive. If you're a Muslim, this changes, and it's even worse in my opinion. Us Muslims, we need to pray our 5 daily prayers, and in most cases, people need to work when some of the daily prayers are being called. For example, Dhuhr, Asr and Maghrib. The problem is this: a lot of Muslims that work in a Western country work for a boss who isn't Muslim. And some of the times, not most cases, but some of the times, there are bosses, or at least employers, who are not accepting of Islam, and it ends up with them not giving you permission to be able to pray the daily prayers that you need to pray. And unfortunately, a lot of Muslims nowadays tend to miss prayers or delay their prayers because of the fact that their own boss isn't giving them the opportunity to pray them when they're supposed to be prayed, which we know it's a massive mistake, and it's a massive risk that you would be taking as a Muslim. Obviously, there are some people who cannot leave their country for X reason, and so obviously that's a completely different case. But if you're someone who, as I said, cannot leave the Western country, for example, and is a Muslim, and acknowledges the fact that living an average life means that you would have to, in a sense, sacrifice your daily prayers, then listen to what a good life would look like. A good life would be a life where you can pray your 5 daily prayers on time, and which is the number one thing. And also, a good life is a life where you have control over the money that you earn and of the time that you can spend working. So if you can live in a Western country where you earn the money that you earn, like you make it yourself, it's not a paycheck, but you actually earn it. If you are someone that controls their time and actually decides the time to allocate to their work every single day, where they want it and how they want it, not only do you have control over your life, and you probably are doing something that you love and that you like, but also it gives you the opportunity to pray the 5 daily prayers, which is the most important thing. Now, I hope you understood the reason why you need to save yourself from an average life if you're living in a Muslim, if you're not living in a Muslim country, for the reason that you might be sacrificing, or you might need to sacrifice some daily prayers, which are absolutely essential. But the question now is, how do you even save yourself from an average life? Because it's easy to say all of this stuff, but if you don't actually explain how to do it, then what kind of video this is? And I agree. In my opinion, the best way to do so is with 2 cases. You either work for someone who is already a Muslim and potentially has, I don't know, an Islamic business set up, for example. And so being Muslim, your boss being Muslim, not only does he have to pray, but he acknowledges the fact that you need to pray as well. And so that gives you obviously the opportunity to not sacrifice your daily prayers. But what you can also do, which is in my opinion the superior way in a sense, and it's the most fun way as well, is starting your own business. And you need to understand this concept about business, which isn't my opinion, but it comes from a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur. His name is Alex Hormozi, you may have heard of him, where he states that business is a very simple concept that unfortunately has been seen as this overcomplicated, impossible thing to start up. Our business is simply something where you give value to somebody in exchange for money. And that's it. It doesn't get any easier than this. You give money, and the person that receives the value from you gives you the money. Makes completely sense. Let's say I'm using this microphone to record my video. And let's say that you're watching this video and you need a microphone. Potentially, I can sell this microphone to you because you need it. I'm providing you value with this microphone. And I'm earning from the fact that I'm giving you value because I'm giving you this microphone. And it can get very easy. The most important thing that you must do right now, in my opinion, as an actionable step if you'd like, is stop everything you're doing for like 10, 20 minutes right now, or just even 5. Sit down, or if you cannot sit down, just think for a moment and try to understand what are the different things that I have, or that I can teach, or that I can give that are valuable to others. And do I know people in my contact list who would need or who would actually appreciate this valuable thing that I could give them, and they would actually give me money in return for it? And we all have that list of friends that would need that certain thing, and we all have that certain thing that we can give in exchange for money that is valuable to some. So in my opinion, there's no excuse to technically start your first business, because a business is literally you giving value in exchange for money. And as I said, it doesn't get any simpler than this. And as I also said, this is not my opinion. This is not something that I've said. It's something that a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur has said, whose name is Alex Hormozi. And as I said, you may have heard of him already. So the way, and the best way, in my opinion, that you can save yourself from an average life if you live in a Western country is start your own business. And it will take time, and I'm starting my own, as you can see, with this YouTube channel, my paid community. But the aim is to do it in the long term, or at least for the long term, because unfortunately, another misconception about today's day and age is that we see so many people posting videos on YouTube saying, oh, first 10K client in 7 days of doing SMMA, for example. Like, that's one person out of like millions who try to do it. And unfortunately, we get this idea that the competition does everything so quick, and that people are getting clients every single day, and that you're the only one who hasn't got a client in a year. But unfortunately, in my opinion, most people don't get a client, for example, with SMMA. If you don't know what SMMA is, it's social media marketing. Most people don't get a client in their first 6 months to a year, in my opinion, because that's what happens in the majority of the cases. But you don't hear about it because nobody wants to hear about somebody not closing clients. Does this make sense? So you need to understand that you can start a business right now, and it's easy to do. It requires potentially even no money. Another thing, do not believe that you need money to start a business, because you absolutely don't. And the most important thing is that you do it for the long term. If there's a business that interests you, which could be making Islamic content just like mine, then I highly advise you to click the first link below, which will basically take you to my page about my community. It's called Digital UMMAH. It's a community where I have weekly live calls where we do like Q&As, and I take the channel of some of my members and I personally critique the channel and give them advice on what to change, how to improve it. And I can actually give you one-on-one coachings on your channel or the video that you're trying to post. As you can see from my channel, I've had quite a few successful YouTube videos, and the aim of these videos, which don't get a lot of views, is just to attract the right type of audience. And I'm trying to attract people like you who are interested in business and potentially also is a Muslim and also is interested in potentially making Islamic content. So if you're interested in Islamic content, click the first link below and let's get to talking, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.